Welcome back to Headlines and Heartlines, where we go beyond the headlines to bring you the stories and the people shaping our community. Today, I am joined by Sergeant Rob Willoughby, who serves as the supervisor of the Liberty County Office of the Texas Department of Public Safety. Sergeant Willoughby plays a key role in keeping our roads safe and supporting law enforcement efforts across the region. Today, we're going to talk about what DPS does here locally, the challenges that the troopers face, and what the public should know about staying safe. And I'm going to start by saying he's one of the reasons that I enjoy my job, because he makes my life a lot easier and takes my calls and helps me with information. So if y'all feel like you're getting enough information on car accidents and stuff, it's because of Rob Willoughby.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
He's one of my favorite law enforcement officers. So anyway, so let's start with, for people who do not understand. Well, I want to also say he's also the son of Gary and Linda Willoughby. They are Liberty residents. You grew up in Liberty, right?
Correct.
And then now you live in Tarkington, and you're the father of two girls, Kaylee and Macy.
Correct.
Okay, got everybody's names right.
Yes.
And you're the only son out of three children?
3 children.
You have 2 sisters.
I have 2 sisters. All of my cousins are girls, and I have 2 daughters. My last name ends with me.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Well, that happens that way sometimes.
It's all right.
So for those who may not fully understand, what does the Texas Department of Public Safety do, and what is your role here in Liberty County?
So the Department of Public Safety's key role is traffic enforcement and criminal law enforcement across the state of Texas. The state is broken up into regions, then districts and areas. So this specific area is 2C08 because we're in Region 2, Southeast Texas Region, District C, and I'm Area 8.
Okay.
Our responsibility in Liberty County is to work through rural crashes, assist local law enforcement with major incidents or when requested, as well as our criminal work that we do in regards to interdiction, felony arrest, fugitive arrests, etc. We're also statewide responsive at any point in time. So upon the directive of the governor or the colonel, we could be sent anywhere in the state of Texas for however long need be until the job is taken care of.
And up until the last year or so, you were sent to the border almost once or twice a month, correct?
I was going about 1.5 times per month to the border.
And having to be stationed down there for a weekend or a week?
It was 9 days. It was
9
a 9-day
days.
stretch, yes.
Okay. What were some of the things that you saw when you were down there?
Well, depending on the areas that we were going to, depending on exactly what we would run into. In the valley, more southern Texas, there was a little bit more issues with narcotics and drugs crossing the border, as opposed to Eagle Pass and Del Rio area, where we dealt mainly with immigrants, migrants, UDAs, and undocumented aliens. And we would also deploy to El Paso as well and work the border there. El Paso was quite a bit different. It was almost like the terrain we were working in was almost like baby powder sand.
Oh.
And it was almost
Hot.
like very hot on a beach, and essentially we were guarding the wall. They had concertina wire and other types of wire protecting the river, but the people crossing would cut it, run through, and try to get to the border wall, thinking that they were safe at that point. It went from hundreds and hundreds a day to hardly any.
And that's the reason they were able to pull y'all off the border?
Correct.
Yeah.
When the last administration changed in
When Trump,
Washington
yeah.
with Trump,
Yeah.
the numbers went down significantly.
Well, that's good, because we get you back in the county more, because I know that you were having to spend a lot of time. It wasn't just you. It was like your troopers, too. They were having to go down there and do their rotations, right?
Everybody from the rank of major down was going to the border at some point in time.
Yeah, and it pulled them off of our streets.
Correct.
So you're the supervisor. You don't have to go out and do so much of the trooper work, but you still are out there a lot. What does a normal day look like for you as a supervisor?
So I'm in more of an administrative role as a supervisor with DPS. I act as a liaison between the agencies and the state. I get a lot of calls from the heads of the local agencies requesting assistance for whatever it may be. We keep in close communication. We have a real good working relationship with all the agencies within the county, from the sheriff's office to all the PDs, and as well as the fire departments as well. My specific role, although I still have the option to go out and stop cars and, work crashes and everything else, I have 10 troopers assigned to Liberty County, so the administrative duties, the paperwork, pretty much keep me in the office for the most part. Checks and balances, making sure everything's done properly, scheduling with the troopers, maintaining the area, all of our assets in the area, equipment, all that type of stuff. I do go out rather frequently on the larger scenes, the
Fatals.
fatality crashes, the any type of large critical incident that may occur,
Like an industrial type thing?
industrial type things, hazmat, railroad issues, plane crashes.
Is that because y'all have better equipment than the local law enforcement to assist in
Well,
the investigation?
It's generally been the responsibility of the department to handle those. Say there's a plane crash in Liberty County, we would respond to the plane crash, get the tail number, contact DPS Communications in Houston, relay information to the FAA, and maintain the integrity of the scene until the FAA were to arrive, or however they tell us to handle the situation. And that's the same way with, if we have a train collision or derailment or anything of that nature, or hazmat spills, we are in contact with the Office of Emergency Management here in the county, as well as TDM, the Texas Division of Emergency Management. And we rely upon each other quite a bit to get the job handled, especially with the amount of natural disasters and everything that we have here in the county.
And when we're told to hunker down, y'all are told to get out there and...
We are out and about, yes.
Yeah. And we count on y'all to do that.
Right.
And you may not go to all the normal, like, smaller accidents, but you are there for the big ones, and we've had some big ones lately.
Yes, unfortunately we have.
5 people killed on Grand Parkway just in a week's time.
Yes.
And so let's talk about traffic enforcement. What are some of the most common issues you're seeing on Liberty County roads?
Well, it honestly, it varies upon location in the county. Speed is always a factor in pretty much every area of the county, especially during rush hour. Everybody trying to get to work, trying to get home. We do have alcohol-related crashes. We don't have the volume of some of the other areas that have a higher population density and bars throughout the Sargent areas. Distracted driving is really becoming an issue.
Cell phones,
people watching different things on their phones or in their cars, watching movies, and just not paying attention to driving.
If they were to cause an accident and they're watching a movie on their phone, couldn't they be, like, criminally charged?
Yes. So,
Like with a felony that could get them prison time.
Correct.
So they need to take that seriously.
Absolutely. There's criminally negligent homicide that they would be charged with, more than likely, depending on what the exact situation would be. But for example, criminally negligent homicide, if we can prove that somebody was using their mobile phone in a manner where
That contributed to the crash.
Which contributed to the crash.
Yeah. And everybody seems to, like, be addicted to it. They have their phone going at all times. You go to out to restaurants, you see everybody with their phones, looking at their phones instead of talking to the people in front of them.
Yeah, it's sad. You see families out there and everybody's on the phone. Families aren't talking or communicating.
Yeah, they're distracted. So are there particular times of the year that get more dangerous on our roads? Is summer more dangerous? spring break?
It's the holiday seasons. The most traveled holiday seasons are probably the most dangerous. The state does have what we call Operation Holiday, and there are certain holidays that are set aside specifically where every trooper in the state is required to be working.
Like a Labor Day or?
Yeah, like Labor Day and Christmas holidays, New Year's.
Okay. 4th
Etc.
of July.
And every trooper in the state is required to be working. They're only allowed to take off if they have service commander approval, which is actually the captain of the district, and it has to be made in writing and a reasonable excuse to be able to take off. We also have programs for other holidays where at minimum half of the troopers of the area have to be on the roadway as well.
Okay.
And those are, we call it as motorside, is what it's called.
Motorside?
Motorside.
What is that? Can you explain it a little bit more?
It's just a program during key times and key enforcement times where higher than normal traffic volume exists, and we would be required, instead of having 2 or 3 troopers out, we'd have to have half the troopers out.
Is the morning worse than the afternoon, or is the late night hours worse, or does it all kind of like?
Late night hours aren't as bad. Morning hours, we have a lot of people rushing to get to work.
Yeah.
Yes, and that causes a lot of the speed-related crashes. In the evening, it's people are fatigued and tired when they come home from work.
Yeah.
They're rushing to get home. They're doing whatever they can to keep their mind off whatever it was during the day, and that's where the distracted driving comes in on the phones and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. What goes through your mind when you're responding to a serious accident or dangerous situation? I know for me, I start praying generally before I get there to something, because I just want everybody to be okay, And then the next thing is, please don't let it be, I know it sounds terrible, don't let it be anybody I know, because I just, I've had to do that before, and it's crushing. But for you, everybody, you have to go out and notify, so everyone is.
That is one of that's probably one of the worst parts of the job is the death notification from fatality crashes. And being from the area, I do know quite a few people, and they know me and my family as well. I have had to notify people that I know.
Yeah.
I've had to work fatality crashes on people I know and notify their families. What goes through my head is, I've been doing this for 23 years. I did it for 10 as a trooper. I've been the supervisor here for 13. Generally, at this point in my career, is a checklist of what needs to be done to provide the best service to the state and the families and the victims of the crashes as well. So I'm going through making sure that, hey, we need to do marking the scene properly. Are we going to need to call in a reconstruction team, download, the computers on the vehicles? Do we need to get a hold of a drone, or are we going to have to use a total station to do a scale diagram on the scene? Making notifications to TxDOT, my chain of command, the state, DPS communications. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's a lengthy checklist that I have, but that's pretty much what's going through my head before I go on scene.
And that probably never gets easier, the notification part.
It doesn't. And to be honest with you, when I'm driving the roads of Liberty County, I can recall every spot where I've worked a fatal when I drive through there.
I do that too, of places that I've gone. I still drive on 787 as I'm going toward out of Cleveland, and I remember where there was the man that was murdered by the Aryan Brotherhood, and I still remember pulling up, and that was where they had found his body, and every time I pass by there, I think of him.
Yeah, it is a picture that is burned into my head. I can remember the way the scene smells, the way the cars were.
How do you deal with that? How do you not carry it home?
That's very hard. You kind of have to compartmentalize it. I don't want to bring that home to my daughters. You can talk about it with your fellow troopers and fellow officers or people that have experienced the same type of traumas. but you don't want to bring it home. You don't want to taint your family with that type of stuff.
No.
Compartmentalizing is not the healthiest way to do it, but that's generally what we end up having to do.
I can understand that. Because it's like you don't want to taint them with all the details of everything that you've seen. It's better for them not to know that.
Correct.
It's kind of nice for them not to have to know that.
I will say I do share some of the details with my oldest daughter.
Yeah.
Because she is a driver, and I want her to know that she needs to drive defensively and offensively, and the consequences of her actions while driving.
That's such a tender age when they start driving. I have 2 grandsons that are young drivers, and it's a scary time in a parent's life.
It is nerve-wracking, especially when you've seen the type of stuff that I've seen. It is absolutely nerve-wracking.
And you got one more coming up. Macy's what, like 13 or?
She's 13. She'll be 14 in October.
It's wild, isn't it?
For too long, she'll be driving.
I knew her age. So, what are some simple things drivers can do that would make the biggest difference in safety?
Easily, the simplest thing they can do is obey the traffic laws.
Speed limit.
Yeah, speed limit. Not being on the phone. Observe no passing zones. Driving safe. I told you the other day that people, when they're speeding, they think they're actually making time up. They're going to get to their destination sooner, but
they just end up at the same red light ahead of you.
In reality, unless you're traveling a long distance, you don't make up any time.
Right.
In that long distance, it might be 10 or 15 minutes.
It's just not worth the risk.
It's not worth the risk.
Yeah, just leave earlier.
Leave earlier. Leave earlier, and I mean, I'd rather get somewhere late than not get there at all.
Exactly. That's the way I feel about it. I do have to watch my speed sometimes because
it's the most prevalent violation of speeding.
Yeah.
And everybody, I'm sure, has done it, gotten stopped for it. But when it becomes a habit and it becomes when people are doing it just constantly and just because they think they can get away with it, that's when it gets extremely dangerous.
Because then they get careless or they get a little bit too full of themselves or too overconfident.
They get complacent in their ability. And people do not have the ability. Most people don't.
Is there anything the public can do to better support DPS troopers and other first responders?
It's nice when the public actually comes up and will acknowledge us and thank us for what we do. I'm not soliciting thanks from people, but when they do come up and say, hey, we appreciate you being out there, thank you for being around, you're making a difference. Or I've had people come up to me that I've arrested before and
they thanked you?
And they thanked me. Hey, if it wasn't for you arresting me, I wouldn't have turned my life around. But
that's really good, though, isn't it?
It does, and it means a lot to the troopers. It means a lot to me as well, and especially when people call me to tell me my troopers have done a good job or they've had a positive interaction with them. I try to record those and send them up through the chain of command and send them to Austin so the trooper does get recognition for what they've done.
Yeah. And there is the, what is it called? Slow down. What is it? The one, slow down and move over?
Yes.
That gives y'all the space that you need to do your job.
It's supposed to, but that's
Is it not working?
I'd say 60% of drivers do it.
They should.
But there's some times where they just zoom past us at normal speed.
But they could get a ticket for that, right?
They could, yes.
So just slow down and move over, or move over.
Yes.
Or do both. Yeah. I try to move over when I can, but if I can't, then I just slow down. Can you walk us through what happens in a crash scene? When y'all first arrived, I guess you start just like securing the scene and...
As far as a fatality crash or a normal crash. So initially we kind of step back and just take a full scope of the scene and see what we have, where the vehicles are.
Yeah.
What kind of injuries we're dealing with, how many deceased we have. and then again, it's a series of check boxes that we go off of. We do a quick overview of the vehicle, do an inspection of the vehicle, an inspection of the victims or you know, the injured or whoever it may be on scene.
Yeah.
And then we will begin the actual, I guess, for lack of a better term, meat and potatoes of the investigation.
Yeah.
We'll go through and we will mark any type of evidence that is relevant to the investigation, including skid marks, where debris has landed, yaw marks, final rest of the vehicles, areas of impact, and we can utilize a lot of those, a lot of that evidence, including yaw marks and whatnot. A yaw mark is when a vehicle's in a side skid.
Okay.
And you can tell by the tire kind of jumps and it's a wider mark.
Okay.
And we can use those and plug it into formulas and actually get a speed for a vehicle.
Really?
Yes. So a yaw mark, you can actually get an actual speed.
Is it the distance between the yaws?
It's so you measure the mark and then you measure across the mark and the distance from the curve of the mark to the straight line, and you plug it in and it'll give you an exact speed. And there's other ways. We have vault formulas. So if in the unfortunate event a pedestrian is struck and
we've had a few of those.
They fly into the ditch or whatever the case may be. I'm not trying to sound morbid.
No, but it
cruel.
happens. We've had a few of those.
We can determine a minimum speed that a vehicle was going based upon how far debris has gone after impact or
how far the person was pushed.
Flown.
Yeah.
So there's many different ways to come up with the contributing factors. Generally, it's easiest now with the technology to be able to download the vehicles and get all the information that we need, but sometimes they're not supported, so we have to go back to the old methods.
Okay. So probably should have started out with some of this, but what inspired you to go into law enforcement?
Well, I was a volunteer fireman with the City of Liberty when I was 16, from 16 to 18.
Okay.
And I specifically remember being on a crash scene in the river bottoms, and a trooper pulled up to assist, and he got out of his car, and he had shiny boots, pressed uniform, and it was, people treated him like, okay, the trooper's here, everything's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
They commanded respect.
And it was just the presence that that trooper gave off. And that's the one time I really noticed it, and I became interested in law enforcement at that point. And
like a public confidence in the job.
Yeah, I mean it was just an aura of confidence that they had, and it was just like, hey, we have nothing to worry about. This is going to be done right. And that's how we do
stuck
our job.
with you.
That's how we carry ourselves. And I actually started riding with DPS when I was 18.
Who did you ride along? Who was that trooper that came out, that got out of his vehicle? Do you ever figure out who that was?
I want to say it was Brent Henry.
Brent Henry.
Yes.
Okay.
And he was in a Camaro at the time.
And,
you see.
And it just looked cool for a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, it did. It did. And I was like, man, that looks like something I want to do.
Yeah.
So I found out what I needed to do to get into DPS and started preparing for it at that time. When I turned 18, I started doing ride-alongs with several of the troopers that were here back then, and I really enjoyed it. And it was something different every night. You make your own day.
Yeah.
Or you make your own shift. It's not constantly stopping cars. It's not constantly working wrecks. It's basically
variety,
whatever you want to do, however proactive you want to be.
Yeah. So that was interesting to you because you felt like you'd never be bored.
That was it.
That's part of what I like about my job, is that I'm never bored. It changes day by day. So I appreciate that. And a lot of people don't realize that to be a DPS trooper, you have to be a college graduate, correct?
Well, you have to. There's several different ways you can do it. You can have honorable discharge from the military.
Okay.
Prior law enforcement. an associate's degree at minimum, or a set number of college hours if you don't have an associate's degree. I want to say it's 90, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
Or a combination of such.
Okay.
And then you're eligible to apply for the department.
So when you first became a trooper, what academy were you a part of?
I was in the AO3 class.
AO3 class, which was what year was that?
We started in March 3rd of 2003.
2003. Where was your first duty station?
I was assigned to Cold Spring. It was a brand new sergeant area when I got there.
Who was the sergeant there?
The sergeant when I got there was Richard Brown.
Okay.
And he was the epitome of an old school trooper.
Was that good?
It was good.
Learning experience.
It was absolutely a learning experience. I got to learn the old ways of the highway patrol, as well as the newer ways.
Yeah.
And being stationed in an area like Cold Spring, for the majority of the time there'd be one deputy out and one trooper out for the entire county.
Yeah, slow pace, but there can be major.
Well, it would get busy.
Yeah.
And you would learn how to be a police officer real quick and how to handle yourself when you're on your own and don't have to back up.
Yeah. That I could see that being the case. So after Cold Spring, how long were you at that duty station?
I transferred from Cold Spring. I was involved in a critical incident in, I want to say September. It was September of 2005, and I transferred. I had gotten a transfer, but I was detached due to Hurricane Rita.
Okay.
And as soon as Rita was done and everything was fine, I was allowed to transfer to Liberty County.
Was Rita the critical incident?
No, I was involved in an incident where a deputy and a Marine drowned in the river.
Oh. Was that Bo?
That was Bo, yes.
Can you tell people who Bo was?
Bo Galloway.
I knew Bo.
Bo Galloway. He was a deputy constable for, I believe it was Precinct 2 in Shepherd.
Yeah.
And
he was very much loved.
Yes, very much. He had come from the Polk County Sheriff's Office, where he was a member of their SWAT team. I don't remember if it was how they referred to themselves, but it was essentially their SWAT team. And he came to work for Jerry Everett in Shepherd.
Yeah.
And they had put out a call over the radio of a drowning in progress in the Trinity River.
Was it a child or was it an adult?
It was an adult. So essentially what had happened is there was a Marine that was home on leave, and he had gone to the river to celebrate with his family.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say his uncle was swimming and began having issues in the current. So the Marine jumped in after the uncle to try to save him. The uncle was able to make it to shore, and then the Marine started having issues with his swimming.
Mm-hmm. Was that in the Trinity or was it the San Jacinto River?
It was in the Trinity.
Off
of
FM
1127.
Okay. That's a dangerous river.
Yes, it is. Trooper Alan Stanton and Bo Galloway, the deputy constable, arrived on scene first. They entered the water. Once the Marine was struggling, the mother went in after the Marine, and then she started struggling as well. My memory of it, I don't know if my subconscious has blocked it out, but I only remember seeing Alan Stanton, who was a trooper I had trained, and he had just recently gotten off of the field training officer program.
He jumped in?
I remember seeing him in the water with the mother, and he kept bouncing off the bottom, coming to the top, trying to figure out, how close he was to the shoreline, and she was fighting him, like most
drowning people will do.
Yeah. So I stripped my gear, and I got in the water, and I got her away from Trooper Stanton. I was able to see a submerged sandbar that got me closer to them, so it wasn't as much of a swim. So I got her on the sandbar, got her back up to the shore, and then went and made sure Trooper Stanton got...
Did he get out?
Yes, Trooper Stanton got back to shore.
But nobody saw where Bo went?
When I was helping Trooper Stanton out, I remember that he told me Bo's been under for 3 or 4 minutes. And we were we were both completely spent.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have an exact location on where he went down because we were busy dealing with the other situation that we had in front of us. Unfortunately, the Marine ended up drowning in that incident.
And Bo drowned.
And Bo drowned as well. So
that left a lasting mark on you, sounds like.
It did. It truly did. A lot of people who weren't there on scene wanted to give their 2 cents and second guess our actions in the river that day. Why we didn't go back in.
Didn't know where he was.
We didn't know where he was. We had no energy left. We were completely expended.
Mm-hmm.
At the point I got Trooper Stanton back.
You would have drowned too, though, if you'd gone back in.
Yes, both of us more than likely would have.
Yeah.
I began coordinating search efforts, calling for helicopters and boats and other units to come down there to assist. And I was still on scene when they recovered both of their bodies. And
I remember that.
Yeah, that was
a rough time. It's a rough time in my business too, because everybody loved Bo.
Yes.
So I guess that moment has stayed in your. That's a moment that has stayed in your memory throughout your whole career.
It is, yes.
So that incident prompted them to relocate you. I guess you needed a different scenery.
Well, it was my choice to transfer. The department took care of us. Trooper Stan and I were both awarded director citations for our
heroic
actions that day.
Yeah.
We were both nominated jointly for Trooper of the Year by the Department of Public Safety Officers Association.
Yeah.
But it was time for me to
have different location.
Find different scenery. My sergeant at the time was Chuck Havard. And he told me, he said, "Hey, I'm going to Liberty and there's a vacancy in Liberty. Why don't you come back home?" And he essentially slid the transfer sheet across the desk. It was already filled out, just required my signature. So
and you're like, okay.
It's like, yeah.
Get to be closer to my parents.
I'll do it. And I was ended up in station in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And I've been in that area ever since.
I have.
Yeah. So what's been one of the most rewarding moments in your career?
There's been a lot. Everything from seeing...
Besides dealing with me.
Yes. Besides that, and seeing... I take great pride in watching my troopers grow through their career.
Yeah.
Several of the troopers I've trained are high-ranking members of the department now. One's a captain. Actually, 2 of them are captains in the department.
That's fun, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and I'm glad to see
they're thriving.
They're thriving. Their success stories. I really enjoy watching the troopers grow, but then, as cliche as it sounds, helping people.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy that. I've been involved in so many different opportunities that I would not have been able to be involved in unless I was a trooper. I've went to New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
Immediately after, Katrina hit.
And got to be a help to people there.
Yes. So, yeah. There was 80 black and whites in a convoy to New Orleans.
How cool is that?
It was one of the most awesome sights I've seen.
Yeah.
We hit the state line and met up with Louisiana State Police, and they were like, "All right, hit the lights, let's go." So 80 black and whites, all rolling lights and siren, headed to New Orleans. I've met, several governors. I've met former presidents. A lot of people in my career that I never would have met otherwise.
Yeah.
That have left a lasting impression on me. Being involved with the community is real big for me, being from this area and having the ties here to this area. I really do enjoy helping people.
Yeah. Then you're in the right profession, obviously. Right?
Yeah.
How do you handle the stress that comes with a job? Because there's an immense amount of stress.
There is. And
You go to the gym?
A lot of days is harder than others. Yes, I go to the gym pretty regularly, and I have some pretty rough workouts that help me de-stress. I have 2 gigantic dogs at the house that I take care of. They are big distressors. My puppy, who's...
They're King Corso? Or
they're Borbals.
They're what?
Borbals.
Okay.
They're South African Mastiffs.
Okay, they're big dogs. I remember we talked about them being big. You don't have to worry about the girls because the dogs will keep anything out of the house.
The female I have, she's 3, and she was a run of the litter. She's the smallest they've ever had. She's about 120 pounds.
That's a pretty good sized dog.
But my male, he's still in puppy stage.
He's how big?
18 months, and he's 225.
Oh my goodness!
So
the feed bill at your house is high.
He can put his paws on my shoulders and look over the top of my head.
Is he well trained?
He is, but he's still a puppy, and he doesn't realize his size.
Oh gosh!
So
you've been a trooper now for 23 years?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
What keeps you motivated after all these years?
The light at the end of the tunnel, maybe.
Retirement, you mean?
Retirement. No, it's again, it's watching the troopers under my command grow.
Yeah.
I really enjoy being able to pass on my knowledge to them and watching them succeed in their careers.
Yeah.
A lot of them have aspirations to go to aircraft division or the Texas Rangers or, CID or whatever it may be, or even promote through highway patrol. And one of my jobs is to promote or to train my replacement one day and to train the future of the department.
You're not allowed to retire. Not till I retire.
One of these days I will.
We'll retire at the same time. We'll turn it over to other people. So how has the job changed over the years, especially with new technology?
It has gone from standing on the side of the road with a double-sided clipboard and paper warnings and tickets to essentially everything's done on computers now.
Yeah, a screen in your car.
A screen in your car, which is good and bad at the same time.
Yes, pros and cons.
Back when I first started, I enjoyed standing on the side of the road, interviewing the violator, and doing interdiction work, asking them questions and everything else to see if there's anything further that we needed to look into.
Yeah.
And now it's, you visit with them for a minute, then you have to go back to your car and type and everything else. Our camera systems have gotten far more advanced.
Mm-hmm.
Every patrol car I have has a wide-angle camera, a narrow-angle camera, a rear-facing camera, and the troopers all wear body cameras as well. So at any given time, there's 4 cameras running on every traffic stop.
Yeah.
Or every interaction that we make.
That's good. That's security for you guys. I guess evidence in the event something happens.
Evidentiary and
security for the person that's getting pulled over. We talked the other day on the phone about the Grand Parkway.
Yes.
And how dangerous it's become.
Yes.
Is there anything that can be done? What is it that people can do to help? I know that you want to talk to TxDOT to see if there's some way that they can make that road safer. What can we as citizens do to amplify that?
You can contact TxDOT directly, and you can contact your state representatives directly.
Mm-hmm. So call Janice Holt.
Yes, and that gets the ball rolling. Mm-hmm. I mean, enough people are concerned about the roadway, then it kind of puts it on the front burner for TxDOT to make changes to it.
And Senator Nichols is still very much involved until January, but he's on the transportation committee.
Changes, obviously, it takes traffic studies and implementation and engineering and everything else. It's not going to be an overnight fix, but at least we can get the ball rolling to get something done.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Liberty County got the short end of the stick on 99.
Don't they always get the short end of the stick when it comes to roads? Sometimes
Kinda, sorta.
TxDOT does a good job on a lot of things, so I don't have any complaints about that.
I'm not
It's
sure
just-
who did the exact engineering on that section, but
Yeah.
you come from Montgomery County where you've got
4 lanes.
4 lanes and a divided median with a center cable barrier
To 2 lanes.
to 2 lanes.
No division.
And there's hardly any passing zones.
And
or
hardly any
pull-off
shoulder.
area. And
And a big slope if you run off the road.
yes.
You're going to roll your vehicle a few times.
Right, and a lot of blind hills and
Mm-hmm.
overpasses. So that's where it becomes extremely dangerous because people are always in a rush.
Mm-hmm.
People are on their phones. We do a monthly high visibility day in Liberty County where the troopers focus on specific roadways. And
Okay.
every trooper in the county is out on that day. And we will go to the areas where we have the most crashes or where crashes are becoming more prevalent, and we will patrol those areas.
We talked about that the other day on the phone. Of course, people weren't privy to that conversation, but we talked about the fact that if y'all had more patrols out there, it would only work for a short period of time while you were out there. People would be back to their same driving habits immediately. Or just another mile down the road, they'd go back to driving fast
I could have a trooper posted on 99
every day.
24 hours a day, and as soon as they get out of eyesight of that trooper, they're going to be driving again the way,
Yeah.
the way they were.
Like the last crash, 90 miles an hour on the speedometer. That's too fast for that road.
It is. It is.
20 miles faster than it should be for that road.
Absolutely.
So.
Ultimately, what I would like to see done, and again, I am going to get with TxDOT and visit with their engineers and everybody else, and hopefully we can come up with a plan to improve the safety of 99. It's out of hand. My troopers do work it regularly. It is not an overlooked roadway. We don't have many that are overlooked. Just because you're not seeing a trooper there constantly doesn't mean a trooper hasn't been through there or has patrolled recently. But 99 is a hot spot for the troopers to work, and they stay busy. People passing in no passing zones. Even, I drive an unmarked vehicle,
Yeah.
and people will pass me in a no passing zone. And
That's dumb.
it is dumb because all of a sudden I
Lights
see
on.
red and blues behind
Yeah.
them. Oh, wait, well, if I'd have known you were a cop, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, you shouldn't have done it anyway.
Yeah, so you were going to do it for a random person.
Shouldn't have done it.
But 99 has been an issue, and I think will continue to be an issue until we figure out a way to improve it.
Yeah. And that's not going to be overnight.
It won't be overnight.
It may be years.
It might be, but
Yeah.
as long as we are taking steps to get there, and hopefully we can have an end in sight, it's better than nothing.
And in the meantime, just be very careful.
Absolutely. I mean, if you see somebody driving crazy, call 911. I mean,
Yeah.
it's worthy of a 911 call. Report him as a reckless driver. If I have a trooper up there, the sheriff's office will broadcast it across the countywide radio. If there's a deputy up there, and we see the vehicle, we can shut them down and stop them.
Yeah. You go pretty fast on that road. John and I were driving from New Caney one night to Dayton, and we came up on a trailer he was driving and he was knocking out like highway signs. He had a trailer pulled behind him, and he had one tire missing off the trailer, and it had already rolled across the road, and he was just hitting signs, here and there, and we had to call. They dispatched us to Dayton, and then Dayton connected us to Mont Belvieu, and Mont Belvieu was the one that finally stopped him and got him pulled over because they moved pretty fast on that road. But we had to follow him all the way and tell them, okay, he's at this exit. We're going to stay far enough behind him. But he had a big trailer behind him, and he was just knocking tires off. And he was still pulling the trailer.
A lot of times the dispatchers or communication office that you contact, they'll say, hey, if you can keep sight of the vehicle without putting yourself in danger, turn on your flashers to let
it does help.
the officers know, hey, this vehicle is getting close, because we'll see the flashers.
Yeah, you don't want to see anybody hurt. So report it if you can.
Yes.
Even if you don't think that they'll be able to get out there and stop it, but just try.
Absolutely.
So we end these podcast interviews with fun questions. And I'm going to start with challenge coins and badges. A lot of people don't know what I'm looking at right now, but I am sitting in Rob's office at the Liberty County Law Enforcement Center off of State Highway 146 in Liberty. And Rob has 2 cabinets full of challenge coins and badges. How many challenge coins do you have?
I would estimate I have probably close to 1,000.
Good Lord.
And probably 75% of those have come from trades with other law enforcement agencies. The bulk of them were from border deployments.
Some of them are big.
They are.
Like that one, the blue one that you've got there. That's a big one.
That's actually from one of my troopers.
Where did it come from?
So when he promoted, one of my troopers is a pilot in the Army. He flies Apache helicopters. And when he promoted to his rank, he was awarded that challenge coin. And he knows I collect them. So, he gave that one to me.
Do you have a favorite one?
I have several favorites.
There's beautiful artwork on these.
There really are. I like the Houston connection coins.
Okay, why?
Like the Houston gangs and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
It's just it's part of Houston culture, local culture.
Just Texas stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
And all the DPS coins that we have from the different border deployments, those top 2 rows are all
Bordered
to Operation Lone Star.
Oh, wow.
And they're constantly coming out with new ones. But I mainly collect different state police agencies. I have a ton from Florida, from when we worked with the Florida guys down there at the border.
I didn't realize the Florida people were here helping with our border.
They were.
Really?
Yeah, they were riding with us. And
that's really cool.
We ride 2-man, and they would always show up with bags full of coins, like, let's trade coins.
Trade coins.
So I have a lot of Florida wildlife coins and Florida Highway Patrol. We had other states that were there as well, assisting with us, and they would always trade. Border Patrol, HSI, they were always wanting to trade. And I've made connections across the United States. I've got a really good friend in Michigan that he and I trade with.
Uh-huh.
He's a deputy up there, and he's on their rescue squad and search and rescue. He's a diver for his sheriff's office. And
so y'all trade coins too?
We do. We trade coins pretty
Which one's from the farthest point away from here?
I have a couple of coins from the UK that an officer reached out to me, and I'm on several coin trading pages on Facebook.
Coin trading pages?
Yeah, it's become a big deal.
For law enforcement officers, yeah.
And he reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to trade some coins with him, and
that's fun.
We swapped, and I've got some from the UK, and I've got some from California Highway Patrol, New York State Police.
Yeah, that's cool though.
It is, and I have a lot of outlaw motorcycle gang coins from. As funny as it sounds, they're kind of my favorite because they all tell a different story. So,
yeah.
A lot of gang investigators from different agencies trade those, and they're pretty fun.
That's interesting.
So,
okay, coffee or energy drinks?
Energy drinks all the way.
They're not good for you.
I'm not a coffee guy.
I'm not either. I haven't had coffee since I was 13.
I've never been able to do it.
Try chai tea. Chai tea is really good. I recommend it wholeheartedly.
Chai tea.
Chai tea. Go to Starbucks or one of the coffee places and get chai tea and get some vanilla put in it and some cinnamon, and it's the bomb. That's what I get. Early morning shift or late night patrol?
I am not much of a morning person, so I prefer the nights.
I like nighttime too. I'm a night owl. Highway or back roads?
When I was patrolling, when I was on the road, my favorite roads to patrol, I would make a big triangle. I'd work 105, 146, 787, and just keep making a big triangle.
Yeah.
Now, if I wanted to change it up and
go the other direction,
look for some different, more specific law violations, I would go on certain back roads.
Yeah.
And go out there and vary it up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the one of the best parts of our job. My troopers aren't assigned districts or highways to work. They go and work where they want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as they're taking care of their assigned area.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, they can run up to New Caney and work up there, or jump down to Interstate 10 in Chambers County and go stop some cars. But our priority is Liberty County.
Okay. Biggest pet peeve on the road? He has a few pet peeves, y'all. I know him well.
Right now, my biggest pet peeve is tinted windshields.
Tinted windshields.
Yes.
There's laws about that.
There are. You're not allowed to have anything below what is considered the AS1 line.
Uh-huh.
Or if the AS1 line is not listed on your window, anything under 6 inches. But people have begun tinting their entire windshields.
That's not safe for you guys.
It's not safe for them. It's not safe for us. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves right now. Passing school buses.
Oh, I hate that one. Yeah.
I see it more regularly in my unmarked vehicle than if there's a black and white following the bus. But that is
so
a
dangerous.
huge pet peeve of mine, and passing in a no passing zone.
Yes.
And probably following too closely as well.
Oh, tailgating.
Yes.
Yes. See, I told you he has a few pet peeves.
I do.
He has more.
I develop them over time.
He has more, but, it's okay.
Yes.
Okay, one word to describe Liberty County.
Busy.
Busy?
Busy.
Really?
Yes.
Busy. Okay. Favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Spending time with my girlfriend.
What's her name?
Shara.
Shara.
Yes.
She's lovely.
She is an amazing person, and she is truly somebody who gets me and understands me, and that
was hard.
Such an important thing when it comes to this job, the stress that comes with it.
Yeah.
I call her kids my bonus kids.
Yeah.
So hanging out with my bonus kids and hanging
And
out
your
with
children.
my daughters.
Yeah. And the dogs.
And the dogs, yes.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite way to unwind.
At home in Tarkington.
Yeah, unless I'm at the gym, which I do.
And your daughters are artists, right?
Yes.
Both of them.
Both of them are very artistic.
Now, Kaylee's getting ready for college, or is she already in college?
She is in her freshman year at
Freshman year at Sam. Okay. And then Macy is going into, the 7th or 8th grade?
She will be in the 8th grade next year.
Eighth
She's
grade.
in 7th grade.
Okay. All right, last question. Advice in one sentence for every driver listening.
Put the phone down. Pay attention. Arrive alive.
That's a good one.
That's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah. Arrive live.
Arrive alive.
Yeah.
You're not doing anybody any favors if you get sent to the hospital
Yeah.
or worse.
Or worse. Yeah. Well, Rob, thank you for taking the time to join me today and letting our listeners get to know a little bit more about you. I hope they enjoyed it. For those listening, we hope this conversation gave you a better understanding of the role DPS plays in keeping our community safe. And it's a reminder to slow down, stay alert, and look out for one another on the road. This has been Headlines and Heartlines. I'm Vanessa Brazier, and I will see you next time.